Good evening and welcome to Between the Lanes, episode 79. I'm Ron.
And I'm Justin.
And I'm Walker.
And I'm Walker. So we have Justin Colvin tonight, one of the teammates on the winning 24-hour team from last weekend, and we will talk more about that here in a few. But we're going to get started. Welcome to Between the Lanes. You can find us on YouTube, Slot Racers, the channel. Now we have 79 episodes up there with some how-to videos and some special episodes. Find us on Facebook. The page is Between the Lanes and Race Results, the winning report. So I have a couple of race reports, but they don't have pictures, so I'm just going to do them right here. The Florida Slot Car Series was at P1 Raceway last weekend in Florida. In the stock car class, Marcus Ramos was your winner. Carl Peters second. Tim Yowsey was third. LMP, Carl Peters was the winner. Marcos was second. Tim Raskin was third. And GTP, Marcus was the winner again with Tim Raskin second and Tim Yowsey third. The SCRA was at Buena Park Raceway. Can-Am was won by Gary Donahoe. Brian Warmack second, Mill Conroy third, and in F1, Dale Yamashita was the winner. Mill Conroy was second, Brian Warmack was third, and they raced all that on the flat track out there. And JPM Performance Series was at Pro Slot Raceway in lovely Hartford, Michigan, tiny little town there. Hobby Stock, Rick Stagen was your winner. Dick Soul was second, and Mike Meacham, looking at Rick Stagen in awe, was third. In the super stock class, Rick Stagen was the winner again with Austin Milcherska second and Dave Garino in third. And then Austin was the winner in the pony stock class with Dave Garino second and Rick Stagen proudly holding up his third place award in third.
That's a great shirt, by the way. I like your shirt, buddy.
Whose shirt?
The guy that won this race?
Oh, yeah, that's Austin. Austin always has a...
Yeah, that's a beautiful shirt.
Okay. NorCal SCRA raced 2 weeks ago, Justin?
Yes.
Okay. And I said last week we would bring that up on this week's show. In the stock car class, and the amateur, and I don't have the picture, where the winner was Tobias Madison. And then this is the advanced podium. Nikki Shackelford was the winner. Bud Matthews was second, and Cliff Gaither was third. And the expert, oh, wait a minute here. I messed up somewhere.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
There we go. So they're holding stock cars. So this is the expert with Casey Shackelford, your winner. Brian in his boots, seconds. And then Jeffrey Cohn was third. In the pro, Justin was your winner with Chris Dre second. Ryan McDaniel was third. In the amateur trucks, it was Michael Kassar. Is that how you say his name, Kassar?
Yes.
He was the amateur winner. And then if we go back, I'm not even going back. The advanced winner was Nikki again with Buddy second and Mark Bauer in third. This is the expert truck podium with Jeffrey Cohn the winner, Brian second, Casey third. And in the pro, it was Justin winning again, Chris Dre second, and Rocky Rommel was third. Hawk GT amateur, Gary Brown on the right was the winner with Michael Kassar in second. Advanced was Paul. What's his last name? Because I didn't see that. What's Paul's last name?
Ludi.
Paul Ludi. Okay. Paul Ludi was the winner in the advanced Hawk GT class. Buddy was second. Richard Matthews was third. Now, is Buddy and Richard father-son?
Yes.
Okay. I kind of thought maybe that was the case. In the expert, Hawk GT, Jeffrey Cohn was your winner, Casey second, and Dave Bunn was third. And pro, Justin was your winner again. Ho-hum, blah, 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 blah. Chris Croft second, Chris Wright in third. And I don't have pictures for advanced in advance. I don't even have the top three in those because they didn't do a good job of doing that on the Facebook page. But this is the LMP Expert Podium. Jeffrey Cohn's the winner, KC second, Brian Boots in third, and then Pro. Oh, see, I didn't have the Pro podium either. Justin was the winner in Pro. He did the big sweep of the weekend out there. Congratulations. Chris Drake was second, and Jason Hooper was third. And then it was history in the making with the 24 Hours of Ohio. Oh, man, I'm really messed up here. So that's the Pro LMP podium. Sorry, everybody. I'm so embarrassed. So Justin's the winner, and Chris was second, and Jason was third. Now we get to the history in the making. The 24-hour race of Ohio. It was a world record attempt. It was on the King track at Mark's Model World in Canton, Ohio. The race started a couple minutes late because we had to get the lap counter set up properly. Race started at about 10:10 a.m. Finished about 10:40 on Sunday morning, 24 hours straight through. And this was a picture, the before picture. This is what the cars look like at the start of the race.
Yeah.
We got an after picture.
Tiny. So everybody knows you had to run your original chassis. You could change bodies. Each team had 4 bodies that they could change at any time they felt they needed to. 2 handout Pro Slots Scorpion motors that had dual ball bearings in them, and 8 pair of handout Alpha medium Wonder rubber tires. And you better have lots of spare parts in your pits. So
I love the pink bodies. Those are great.
they were so simple, and they were easy to see. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, any color other than purple or pink, there's 5 cars there with purple or pink in it. Like, come on.
Sorry, Walker. We'll get you to paint them next time.
All right, I will.
Okay.
I'll paint them
So
all different colors.
after 24 hours, Team Chubby was the winning team, and they ran 19,951 laps, which came out to over 500 miles, and obviously a new record. And all of the teams, the top 7 teams, I should say, they all was above the old record of 16,644 laps, which equates to 488.5 miles. And the 8th place team, the HOers, they were a little shy of that previous world record that was set in 2005. That is a picture of the bottom side of the winning car.
Wow.
And, yeah, you know what? It doesn't look any different than a normal 24-minute main to me.
Well,
A lot of pan drag.
what this picture doesn't show is the side shot and the front of the chassis being like this.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
So it might be a little bit worse than a 24-minute race.
So I know a couple of times, yeah, I know a couple of times that you guys had to straighten your front ears or wings or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
You weren't the only ones, but yeah, I know one time it was curved up pretty nicely, and Matt got it straightened out right away. So the winning team was Matt Bruce, Joe Chubby Salzman, Jimmy Williams, Justin Colvin there in the center, being hugged by Doug Bauer. Paul Ciccarello made a surprise appearance, and Chris Radishish was also on the team. So that's your winning team. The second place team was Plan B with Cap Henry, Will Custer, Eric Shirey, Frank Ulbrich, Bud Denning, and Ross Scharf in his Aztec pullover hoodie. It was just something we talked about in the race. And the third place team was Migo, which Migo was Michigan, Indiana, Georgia, Ohio, but our Michigan driver didn't show up, so We didn't want to be called Ego, so we just stayed with Migo. So that was Joe Ligori, Terry Watson, Ralph Thorne, James Merriman, myself, and Dave Smirka. That's your winner chicken dinner report. Are you ready, Walker?
Oh, yeah. Tuesday, Saturday.
All right, this is a very busy week of racing coming up. You got the GTP Enduro at Archdale. You got the Jeff Hale Memorial Race down at Slot Cars R Us, White House, Tennessee. New England Retro Racing is in action this weekend. Retro East is in action this week. USCA, you've got the AWRA is also racing this week. Mid-America Hard Body Series is at Pro Slot. You got the Midwest Slot Car Series at Real Speed in Fort Wayne. The OCC is back at Mark's Model World. The ORS is at Tom Thumb. And that's everything on my calendar for this coming week. So we will have reports on all those races next weekend. And tomorrow's Valentine's Day, gentlemen.
Oh, boy.
So don't forget your sweethearts. Don't take your date to the slot car track. And just, you two need to just buy something nice for your mothers because I know you're both loveless in life right now. So, not that that's a bad thing.
Look, there's a skank bar next door. I can get.
You ain't old enough, so
That's easy.
just stop. Just stop. Just stop right there. You gonna stand out front with a dozen roses waiting or what? Come on.
No, I can go in. I just can't buy anything.
Oh, well then take your dozen of roses in and
I'll take my box of chocolates in and give it to the woman breastfeeding.
life is like a box of chocolates.
Yep.
So don't forget, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Do not forget, men. You will never live it down if you don't forget it. That's all I got to say about that.
Ta-da.
And we have a couple of giveaways later in the show.
Ooh.
Ooh.
What are we giving away? Ooh.
Oh, it's a surprise.
I don't know if we should worry about it, Walker, because we never win anyways.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Our names aren't in the hat.
Oh, boy. Here we go again. My name's not in the hat. Yeah, I had a couple of people message me. Is my name in the hat? Yes, your name is in the hat.
Mine's not in the hat.
But when there's like 300 or 400 names in there and we only pull things out every couple weeks or a couple things every week, I mean.
You emptied the hat out like a month ago.
I know.
My name never got
we
called.
refilled it with 350 people or something, and then more people since then. So you're still in there. You're down in the hole. I don't know what to tell you. You're down in the hole. Oh, that was nice.
Just grab the hairy one.
Just grab the hairy one. Okay. No, because I gave it a haircut. Because see, if you were here with me, you'd have been at the barbershop by now.
No.
Yeah. All right. So we have one of the winning drivers from the 24-hour race. So what was your take on the 24-hour race, Justin?
I had a lot of fun. It was my first time doing an enduro race that long. I've done a 12-hour enduro with HO cars before.
Same here, but not HO.
But that's nothing compared to the 24-hour enduro.
It was my first 24-hour race. Like you, my longest prior enduro race was 12 hours with like hard body type cars. I thought it would be more grueling than what it was. Like,
yeah.
But I never really got tired. I know a lot of other people did. I mean, I think you see young guys passed out, and you see old guys going, and you see older guys passed out. I think, like what I see a lot of is guys shaking their hands because they had cramps in their hands and their arms, and I guess probably the sorest thing on me after I got done racing was like the calves and my legs, just the calves, I guess, from standing there. I didn't notice it when I was racing. It's just when you're done and you go over and you sit down for a second or you walk around, you're like, oh, my calves. Willie Custer said his heels were like tearing him up. And
Yeah, that's one thing that got me was just standing for that long. By my fourth stint, it was tough. I mean, I like the first three stints, I felt okay doing those. When I got around to the fourth stint, there were times where my car was on the straightaway, I had to pull the trigger down and I would flex my lower fingers just to relieve them from being clenched that time.
and then when I was coming home, so we left the track. You know, I was up for by the time I got up 6:30 Saturday morning, and by the time I hit the hay here, I'd been up 34 and a half hours or something like that. So we left the track and we got about a half hour down. Well, I asked Terry, I said, well, do you want to drive? You want me to drive? He says, well, I'll drive for a while. Okay. So we got in the truck and we headed west, and about 30 minutes. I said, I just closed my eyes. Like, so I really wasn't asleep, but we're just cruising, and about a half hour into it, he's on the rumble strips, and I'm like, you okay? And he says, I don't know. Well, I'm like, well, if you want to pull over, I'll drive, and he's like, no, I think I can go a little bit further. I said, well, just go down another half hour. There's a rest area, pull in there, and then I'll take over. So we got there, and I took over, and I was okay. But then like the top of my left foot was just throbbing, like top arch of your foot. I was like, I took my shoe off, and I was okay. And I don't know why that would be bothering me. I don't know if that was because I was up so long, or if it was because my foot was tired or what. But my right foot was okay. It's just the left foot. So anyway, then we ran into big snow coming home, and that delayed us a little bit. But like I said pre-show, I said, I go to a lot of races, and I always have fun at the races. But like I had more fun at this race than I can recall having at any other race in the recent year or two or three. I mean,
I
it
really
was
like
just a
it.
blast. I mean, to have that many good drivers, like on your team, you had all the guys on your team have won a USRA national championship or two and some world championships, and Plan B, they had you got retro champions and big race winners and some flexi. I mean, you had Willie and Ross who did well at the Flexi Palooza.
Yeah,
winning GTP and LMP. Eric Shiree's like an OCC multi-time champion, and Frank Olberg's fast, and Bud holds his own. You know what I'm saying? And then my team again, another kind of stacked team with lots of wins and championships and stuff like that. And so to have that man, and even like on Roger's team, I mean, there's at least one USRA national championship on his team, and a lot of other wins there. And all the teams had winners. I mean, guys that know how to win races and big races and do well. And I mean, not all of them have went to USRA national events or ISRA races, but I mean, they've in their own right, they've all done well and won big races. So it was really cool to have that many champions in the building together and out there slugging it out. So Walker was missing in action, but hey.
Oh yeah.
Missed his opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was sad.
Like we also talked pre-show, I mean, the first 4 or 5 hours of the race was pretty ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like, I don't know. I can't say like, I don't know what was going on, but there was just, I mean, it wasn't one team or two. It was everybody. Everybody was
everybody.
So I think by the third heat, like Plan B had already broke 4 guide flags. The Marks Model World team had broke at least 2 by that point, maybe 3. I can't think of anybody else like early in the race. everybody was in the pits. Everybody had some kind of trouble. So at that point, Justin's team obviously had less trouble because they were leading the race and by not a huge margin, but a substantial margin, but nothing that couldn't be overtaken later in the race if
Right.
you guys had trouble. And it's kind of like a waiting game. You're just waiting, even though you're behind, and you could be running faster and running more laps. It's still a waiting game trying to get caught up and ahead. You know what I mean?
Right.
So a lot of broken flags early on, and then I guess in the third or fourth heats when we had our first motor to start to slow down and a couple motor changes, and we realized that motor brush wear was a problem with some motors. And I really don't know why that would be per se. Like no one really worked on their motors or changed their brushes springs because you weren't able to do that. So just some motors wore brushes quicker than others. And I actually believe it's just because some guys ran more brakes than other guys. And when you run less brakes, you get a little bit more motor arcing, and that eats the brush. So, like for example, I don't know when we changed our motor. I'm gonna say I'm thinking seventh or eighth heat. I didn't take notes. I should have, but anyway. So when I pulled the motor out, I thought, wow, the brushes look short, which they were. And then put the motor in a box, put the other motor in the car. And we knew in practice it wasn't as fast as the motor was in the car, but after a while it got better. I don't know if it got as fast as our first motor, but it's like, okay, now we're back in the hunt here, or at least for now. So then I don't know if it was a heat or two later, Team Mid-America's Roger Schmidt's, their motor slowed down, and they went over and cleaned out with pure and blew out with compressed air and put it back on the track, and it's like it was running as fast as it was, and it's like, oh, well, maybe the other motor we took out, maybe we need to do that too. So we just kept running our motor until it's like, okay, we need to change that. When we changed that one, that back motor brush was gone. I mean, it was like, where's that thing at? So took the other motor, blew it out, put it in the car. I'm not going to say it was as fast as it was at the beginning, but it was better than what we had just taken out. So, so we finished, and we had enough laps. We didn't need to run the last heat because I didn't feel we were going to catch Plan B unless they had some major problems, and I didn't really anticipate that happening. So, we weren't going to go up, we weren't going to go down, but it was like, Terry, do you want to run the last heat or not? And he was like, yeah, I'll run it. So, but we didn't need to because we had a really big lead over fourth place that we weren't going to lose third place. So, and then so early in the race, of course, Team Chubby led. You guys led for what? First 8 or 9 hours?
Yeah.
And then you broke your first guide flag, which was a red fox with the insert, and it broke its blade. Like, okay, so there was broken guides where you had a few that snapped posts. You had some guys that peeled the top off.
We had one that broke the flag and one that peeled the top off.
Okay. And I think Roger Schmidt's team was the only team that did not break a guide. I can't swear to that, but I think every other team broke at least one guide flag. And you know what? Every brand of guide flag was broke.
Right. What guide did you run, Ron? Did you run an HP?
I ran a Starburst.
Oh, you guys ran Starburst? Okay.
And so anyway, I was running the car, and they said the guide flag was broke, which it was kind of peeled back. Mm-hmm. Now, if I would have been pitting the car, I'd just put siren on it and melded it back together.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked at the guide, but it wasn't like the braid didn't fall out, the guide clip didn't fall. I mean, they were just like changed the braid, and they're like, your guide flag's broke. And I didn't, and I just said, well, change it. And they changed it. But on Friday, I had an HP guide on my car. I took it off, put the Starburst on, and it went the same speed. So it was like no difference in the guide flag. But in my previous experience with Starburst guides, in 20-some years we raced those guides, I never seen one break. There's the kitty cat.
Aren't the Cahosa guides really strong too?
In the last couple of years, because prior to Red Fox and HP and those, I ran those in retro, and I had a few of those break. But again, I broke Cahosa's, broke Parmas, broke the older style Red Fox. So I mean, everything breaks.
I have like 20 old Cahosas that we bought from somebody. The thick Cahosas. They're like red, and I figured those seem pretty strong. So
and then
would have worked.
I guess bodies. You guys only used 2 of your bodies, right?
I think every body we had was on the cart at one point in the race.
Okay.
But what would happen is we'd put a body on, it would get torn up, swap it out for another one.
Fix it.
Matt would be in the pits, heating up the body with this iron, taping it up.
Right.
And, yeah. So we'd just be rotating out bodies.
That's what we did too, because we had a few bodies, and James massaged them with the iron and the tech tool and all that stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I think I don't know about every team. Most of the teams used up all their bodies, or cycled them and repaired them and kept them going.
Yeah.
And I know, like late in the race, because we had, not that we planned it this way, but we kind of ran 2 bodies the first 12 hours, and then we had 2 new bodies for the second 12 hours. Just worked out that way. And the car was definitely better with a nice straight body on it versus a beat up body. And all the teams ran a 10 thousandths thick handout body. The bodies took a beating. And then, like, not to change subject from the cars, but okay, so I gotta cheat. So you guys won by, because I did this. Okay, so you guys won by I gotta get my calculator. So you guys had 1,951, and second place had 119,640. So that's 311 laps. So they won by 311 laps.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people's like, wow, that's a lot of laps. Okay. No. Because
that's maybe 15 minutes.
Well, okay, so what I did was, okay, so if you broke down the race into 24-minute mains, roughly you're running 3 24-minute mains an hour. 12 minutes over, but just roughly. So that comes out to like 72 mains, 72 24-minute mains roughly. Okay, and if you divide that by the 311, the 72 into 311, it's only like 4.3 laps.
Yeah, it's
per race.
Yeah.
So it's really close. I mean, it was really close, and the race was really close throughout. I mean, between you guys and Plan B, I mean, you guys led. Like I said earlier, I was trying to get to that point, but you guys led until your guy flag broke.
Yeah.
And then Plan B went into the lead.
Right.
And then you broke another guide, so they got a little further ahead. And then there was motor changes and tire changes, and
yeah.
I don't know what the biggest lead Plan B had was. Maybe a couple hundred laps.
No, I think it was maybe 150 to 200, somewhere in there.
Okay.
I know at one point we had like a 200 and something lap lead.
Right. And you lost it.
Right.
And then they gained that back.
Right.
And they put 200, 150, 200 laps on you, which then you guys got that back, and they wound up winning by an additional 311. So it was a seesaw battle.
Right.
In the race. And then, some teams started with those biggest possible tires. Tires were like 765, 770 out of the tube. So And you clean them up, trim them up, they're probably 760-ish.
Yeah, I want to say that's what we started. I think we started with 760 size tires, but I think we started at 063 clearance.
Yeah, because like when I tech the cars, you guys had a lot of clearance. Some teams had lots of clearance and some didn't have. You know what I'm saying? We started at 50. So
Right.
some were kind of in between. And then after that, I don't know what the strategies were, but we only used 7 pair of tires.
We used 4.
Yeah. So I thought Chubby said you guys used 4. Some teams used all 8. So there was a lot of varying strategies going on and things like that. So again, it was a good time. Good race. Good racing with everybody. And everybody seems to want to do it again. So now I guess the decision comes down to, are we doing it every year or every couple of years or what? But and big thanks to Mark at Mark's Model World. I mean, he went above and beyond and had us all. I mean, the whole time from
Yeah.
when we walked in the door to when we left there Sunday morning. He always had food, and at one point he brought something different out than what he'd had before, and he was always changing it up. So if you went hungry or you didn't eat, that was your fault. But it was all there, and some local one of the HO guys brought in like these huge boxes full of potato chips for everybody, and that was all free, and it was just a good time. I mean, we had Walker was a no-show. John Miller.
Of course, you had to say me first.
So we had I think 55 or between 55 and 57 drivers, or maybe it was 53, 55 drivers, but and then a lot of spectators. I mean, a lot of the racers come in just to watch the start and watch throughout the event that didn't participate in the event. So
yeah,
it really was pretty full. I mean, I kept waiting. I mean, at one time, I know this might sound bad, but the first 4 or 5 hours is kind of like, wow, could some people leave? Because it's just hard to get around the building and stuff. Like, there was just so many people in there.
Yeah.
The building was overcrowded, but everybody's over by the track, and you're trying to, go get your car and change the lane sticker on lane changes, or maybe get to the car to pit it. And
that's what it felt like at the Flexi Flats during qualifying.
Yeah, right.
Night, whenever we had that art walk and all those people were down there watching us qualify.
Right, yeah, that's right.
And I think somebody yelled at a little kid because they walked up next to the track right beside of them and they couldn't see the track.
Yep.
So they kind of told him to back up in the middle of qualifying.
Yep.
That was fun.
So there was no motor failures, other than the brushes wearing out. I mean, no slung wires, no loose magnets, no
smoke shows.
No smoking. No smoking
allowed in that building.
Hate when that happens. But no, there was no coughed motors. I mean, so the motors went above and beyond. Chubby, you guys ran your first motor for 17 hours.
16.
Okay. Okay. So, now the Gray Reapers, they ran their motor. Jeremy White said they had 20 total hours on their motor because they had it in, it slowed down, they took it out, and I don't know if they cleaned it or what, but they put it back in and it ran the rest of the race. So they had 20 hours on one motor.
Wow.
So
mine don't last 3 races.
I can see that. I think we could have ran a little bit longer on that motor too.
Right. Well,
it didn't even really slow down a whole lot over the race.
Well, and that's okay, so people are like, well, why are the motor brushes wearing out? Well, okay, so first of all, how many people actually build a motor or buy a motor and change, I don't care what kind of motor it is, any brushed motor that you can change brushes in. How many people tried or plan on running a motor 17 hours? When we go to a race and we we build motors, and the most we ever run them is 40 minutes in a main. We bring them home, we tear them apart, we rebuild them. We don't, we don't run ProSlot FK motors for 17 hours. There's no motors we run for this like extended time.
Right.
Somebody said, well, maybe if you used a different brand of brushes, you know what? Until you ran them in a race, you don't know if they'd be any better. They might be worse.
Yeah. Really, because those use the G7s, right?
They use those motors had G7 brushes.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any other brushes that could last as long.
Right.
Or last longer, I should say.
Okay. Yeah, because I hear that's harder than the Kofor brush, and the Kofor brush here. I don't know which one's harder. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never ran the endurance test on brushes to see which one actually runs. And you have to do it on the track. Like, you can run them on power supplies, but that's no load. Like, you're not doing any braking and causing the arcing to erode the brush away. So
the way that he tested it by having the car run around on his track for so long, really helped staple the fact that these motors were going to last that long.
Right.
Because that really
That showed us the motors would last that long, but didn't show us that the brushes would last that long.
Yeah. Which
he just run the car around there at 6 volts.
Yeah.
Is not.
But it's still under a load, so I don't know how long he ran it. He ran it
but it's not the same as running it at 13.
Up to 13.8 and then down and up and down, spooling up and down, and with all that arcing going on with the braking and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I understand that, yeah.
If you could make some kind of
72 hours or something?
Huh?
Didn't he run it for like 3-4 days?
Something like that, yeah. But again, 6 volts.
Yeah. Right.
No braking, no reverse EMF and all the current through the motor. So,
yeah, and I mean that's like very little strain on the motor running at 6 volts.
Right. So, like I said, we had no motor failures. Either Walker went to sleep or he froze on us again. Oh, there he's back. He's awake. Oh, but yeah, I mean, like no armature failures, no other failure of the motor. Okay, so how was your oil lights in your car after the race? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't think we had a problem with those.
Yeah, my oil lights are like, I'm not gonna say they're brand new, but I could go race them. I could take that car and clean it up and go race it next week, and the bushing is still good. Now, Team in America is like that thing had rear steer in it. I don't even know how they finished or kept a gear in the car. That's how bad their rear oil lights were in their car.
It was handling better.
I don't know, but their bushings were shot.
What kind of bushings did they run?
Don't know. Didn't ask.
Yeah, so I almost 100% sure we use Coforge in ours.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what Chubby said.
And I'm sure you probably used Parmas, didn't you?
I used Parmas.
Yeah, the Slick 7s definitely wouldn't have lasted that long. My favorite.
Well, I don't think you could have ran those an hour without them locking up.
Oh, they would.
I've had them lock up in 24 minutes.
I've had them locked up, the 2-minute heat.
Well, I mean, if you use junk oil, then they will. But.
Well, and see, that's okay. That's another thing about oil light, where it could have been the oil that was being used too. I mean,
yeah,
right.
You don't know what kind of oil was used either.
You don't know what kind of oil was used. So,
yeah.
But anyway, I don't know how the other teams' bushings were, but I know some teams were prepared to change bushings. I wasn't. I'm sure the bushing was no problem.
Yeah,
based on past experience.
I mean, I've ran the first enduro we had, the Phoenix enduro we had at our place. I had to change bushings in the middle of it because one of them got hollowed out, like it got messed up. But I think that was more just because that had been axle, which could have happened to Roger's team. They might have been an axle and it might have done it.
If they would have been an axle, their car would have been really weird. Their car was not really weird.
They didn't change axles?
Yeah, we did change. Okay, so they did lose a gear, but their axle wasn't real loose. They lost a gear because it got hit.
Okay. So they didn't bend an axle or anything to cause
because I kind of helped pitted them at times.
Mm.
I just took the tire off, pulled the axle out and the gear, and put another one in and put the tires back on it and put it back.
Yeah.
So, and then we changed the gear one time because the car got hit in the back end and it nicked a tooth. And we ran probably a half hour with it like that.
Yeah.
And and when we pitted the car at the start of the next heat, it was just like, I'm just going to change the gear because eventually we're going to lose that gear. So that was just preventive maintenance. But yeah, I was surprised. There wasn't many gears went bad.
No,
And
I don't know if we even changed the gear in ours.
And everybody seemed to go an hour on a pair of braid with no problems.
What ratios did you guys run, and also what brand of gears?
I'll let Justin go.
We ran 1135 with a Cahosa spur gear.
Okay.
And we ran 1134 with the HP 34 tooth gear and then the angled ARP 11 tooth pinion. I think everyone had angled pinions.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm sure that's probably the same thing that was on Roger's car, or is the same exact setup?
Or
did it have a 35?
He ran HP gear, but I don't know if he ran a 34 or 35.
Yeah. 34 is brave.
Yeah, I was running that in my practice cars.
Well, we ran smaller tires. Now, if I had started with big honking tires, I would have had a 35 or 36 on it, probably, maybe a 37.
I was running 34 with 760 size tires on my practice cars and didn't really have a problem.
And everybody ran a Defender center section except for my team and Roger's team. We ran Strikers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was going for the extra strengths.
That's what I would go for too if I built a car.
I mean, we never been a front ear or anything. I mean, I remember at one point in the race, probably 13, 14 hours in, Joe. So I don't know. He had this thing about didn't think the car was flat or something, and he put the straight edge on it, and he's like, I cut that on. It's like, there's nothing wrong with the car. The car's fine. He put the straight edge on there, and he's like, wow, that thing's still flat after all this time of racing.
Yeah, those chassis are tough. Those Strikers are.
Yeah, and they're a couple grams heavier, but.
Yeah, you can hit anything.
So, but our car was a little loose on race morning, which maybe we should have ran a Defender. Defender definitely had more bite than the Friday.
Yeah, because it had a little less metal. It flexed a little better.
Yep.
Yeah, our car was a little loose, like from the start, but then, like after the 14th hour or so, we put tape on it.
So tired.
Yeah, put tape on it, tightened it up, and made it better.
So, did Roger or the Walker? Did you see pictures of the track when we got done? How black it was.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I talked to Mark yesterday, and
I bet that was fun to clean.
Oh no, he said it's ready to go for this weekend's OCC race. He ain't cleaning it. Because I said something to Eric, should I redirect race? I said, well, track's all running for next week. He goes, oh, no, they need to clean it. So I talked to Mark yesterday. He's like, nope, it's running, ready to go for next weekend, or this weekend. And it'll probably be pretty good, actually.
Yeah, as long as there's no marbles, you're fine.
Because the track really never was sticky. Like, it was kind of a greasy, like, rubber, you know what I mean? Like,
was it really humid, or?
From all I wouldn't say it was humid in the building.
Fat old people sweat?
No.
But we were making fun of somebody saying they probably had some swamp ass going on. I forget who that was. But Al Rudy didn't sweat that much.
So so it wasn't like it was at the Palooza, because that was slimy.
It wasn't that. Yeah, it wasn't that like that.
Okay, because it got really slimy there. And whenever I hear
it
slimy,
wasn't like that. Now, if it had been June or July, maybe because it's just the humidity. And even though Mark's has air conditioning, on hot days it's hard for air conditioning sometimes to keep up with all the people in the building and doors being open and closed all the time. So, yeah. So again, I thought it was an outstanding event. It was really good to race with everybody. And even though there's all those people there, you still don't get to race with all of them because just the rotations and.
Yeah.
Man, I think I only ran one heat when Justin was on the track, and I raced one heat when Doug was on the track, and I raced 2 heats when Jimmy Williams was on the track. No, one heat because Jimmy ran 2 heats.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think who else on your team might have been on the track when I raced. Not Matt, not you. I raced with you once.
Yeah.
I know not Chris. I don't think Chubby.
Rasich.
Oh, I raced with Chickarillo one heat. So I didn't get to race with all the winning team, just 4 of them. Or 3 of them. Doug, you, Chicky, 4, and Jimmy.
I won the race to sleeping. I won the race to sleeping.
Sleeping?
Oh yeah, I won the race.
You didn't stay up. You didn't stay up all night and wait for the finish of our race.
There was no point. Justin failed on his documentation of the race.
No, everybody. Okay, so we talked about that pre-show. Okay, so it was nearly impossible to do anything other than be involved with your team in your race.
Right.
You know, like there was no time for live reporting or taking a picture and posting it because, you know, I mean, a lot of people posted pictures, but it wasn't their job to do like a race report. So thanks to all those who posted pictures when they did. And I know some people are like, well, you know, he quit posting after 2 hours or 3 hours. Well, that's because he probably got busy, you know, and so there, that would be one man's job alone to do that the entire event.
And it really sucks that the live feed didn't work. That really sucks.
Right. Yeah. And it was being worked on, and there was just some kind of glitch or something, and it didn't happen. And Mark wanted it to happen, and he did his best to make it happen, but it didn't happen. And at the same time, though, it's kind of like I don't think it would have been an exciting live feed because you would have just seen these guys standing there running their cars. And
but it's
there wasn't anything exciting. I mean, maybe every couple minutes you'd see a wreck in the straightaway.
I think if he would have just had the cars team uplinking online to where you could watch it in actual time, that would have been good. But it was part of the.
It's like we would have had it on a TV, like the flat track TV or something. We would have just had the live feed playing.
Right.
So or the lap totals. Up there.
So I was trying. My goal was to try and do heat by heat posts and updates, but when you're pitting cars and you got to be on standby because you got a guy racing and a guy marshaling, and you're pitting. You can't be over there taking pictures or goofing off because when your car breaks, you got to be there. So it didn't work out. So if Dad had been there, we would have had a live broadcast the entire 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't bring you, so
sad days.
We'll live. On to the next one. So,
on to the next one.
I mean, I would go do one this weekend, another 24-hour race.
I mean, I was gonna do that race and then the enduro this weekend at Archdale.
Took me a couple of days and some hours to recover, but
I mean, like, heck, the enduro at Archdale will probably have way more broken stuff than that race did because that little.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller, tighter track too.
Yeah.
That's like a bull ring track. You're gonna really be banging on each other.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Okay, so I don't really have anything else to bring up other than Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. And any other topics? Is there anything else about the race you want to talk about, Justin? Because
I've kind of already gone over everything.
Yeah, I was thinking.
It was fun. There was plenty of food. Mark was a great host.
Right. And I think, you know what, I think enduro races in general are fun.
Right.
So, you know, like, have a 3-hour endurance race at your track or a 6-hour. You don't have to have 24 hours. I mean,
Right.
you almost got to kind of work yourself up to that action.
Right.
So,
I think if there's too many 24-hour enduros, people are just going to get tired of them.
well, yeah, I think, well, depends on if you're going for the world record or not. I mean,
Right.
you know, somebody said something about having, you know, the Illinois guys were like, well, maybe we can have a 24-hour race closer to home, meaning Illinois. And I said, well, we could try and have one at, like, Mid-America, Bloomington on the hill climb there.
Yeah,
You know, we're not going for a world record per se, but
that'd be fun.
it'd be fun to have a 24-hour race on a hill climb, you know.
It'd be fun to have one here too.
Now, I don't know how many, you know, I don't know if we get the same crowd or same caliber of racers to show up for that race, but
Yeah,
Maybe not if we do it every year. Maybe if we do it every couple years.
right.
yeah,
But that track is 155 foot, and I guess if you went there and you went more than those laps on that track, that would qualify as a new outright
Right.
distance record for 124th cars on a banked track.
Well, I
Right.
mean, like ours is 165, so if you just change the math a little bit, we had one here, it'd be the same thing.
Yeah, but see if it's possible you could. That's probably not possible to do it, and you can't.
And it's
Really
probably
change,
not possible here,
you
but
can't change the math per se.
well, I mean, you would just change like from. Well, is it the same?
Yeah,
It's the same.
really on Walker's track, you just have to do less laps and you get the same distance.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because you're and a shorter
'Cause we
track.
have 10. We have
Shorter
10.
track, you'd have to do way more laps
Right.
to get the distance. Way more laps. So,
Yeah. And there's a lot of tracks that it would be impossible on. Like ours would probably couldn't break the world record on ours just because the lap time is
right.
so much slower than a king track is.
And it's not a
And then-
Guinness World Record because
Right.
Guinness
Like-
doesn't recognize world records on bank tracks. So,
So next 24-hour enduro should be on a flat track.
Yeah, there we go.
well, see now that would qualify for a Guinness, but see that's a lot less miles too, because the cars don't go as fast.
Is there actually a Guinness World Record?
Yes,
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
124th, 132nd, and HL.
What's
you
the
go-
record for 124th? Get as far as Guinness knows.
You'd have to go look it up. I was just going to say, if you go to the British Slot Car Racing BRISCA, British Slot Car Racing Association, British Slot Car Racing Association website, they have a tab up at the top of the thing about world records. You click on that, and then there's another bar, and you go in there, and the world records are in there.
What's it called?
British Slot Car Racing Association.
Slot Car Racing Association. Okay, BSCRA.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The world records at the top.
I'm on my laptop. I'm looking it up. Gotta wait for this beautiful free Wi-Fi. Let's see. What kind of car did they run? A flexi car?
I thought they ran a Eurosport type car, but
Did they run Eurosport?
somebody said it was more like a production 24th car.
Let's see. Well,
Did you find world records?
yeah, but
Okay.
Um,
Did you see where it says Blue King World Records, and then there's
okay, 24-hour record.
24-hour records? Go into that.
Okay, outright.
Outright's the record we just set this
24th
weekend.
outright. Okay, yeah.
And the one underneath it,
124th unbanked, 305.949 miles.
All right.
It was set in 1986,
correct.
so that should be beatable
That should be beatable.
for sure.
No one like that's the thing. No one has really went after these records for years.
Yeah,
I think that's something we can do.
And you
I
have
think
to have,
so, too.
and you have to have 8 teams to qualify for the Guinness thing, all that stuff. So.
We can get one of those organized for either next year or the next year for sure.
Well, maybe next year should be a flat track, and then in the following year go back for the outright work. You could flip flop them every year.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
God, that means we might have to put up with you for 24 hours somewhere.
I mean, you should have this weekend, but
I know.
I would have been pulling out the goo pranks on everybody sleeping. Was there any goo pranks?
No.
We've all had respect for one another. And you know what? Not that many people really slept. So, I mean.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure if Goo showed up, there'd be some lipstick on somebody.
That could have been. Maybe not.
Yeah.
All right, we need to wrap this up. So I'm going to pick the secret word of the week, the special word of the show, in honor of the 24-hour world record. And being it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, the secret word will be chubby.
I was waiting for it.
So the secret word is chubby for the show this week. If you want to put Team Chubby on there, I'll let you do that too. But
yeah.
There you go. Give your sweetheart a Team Chubby for Valentine's.
There you go. Doesn't matter if it's a dill pickle or a little gherkin.
Just won't be caught jerking.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, guys. Thanks for being on the show. As usual, it's been humorous, entertaining, and informative, I hope.
Hopefully.
Congratulations again to Justin. Not only his 24-hour win, but, wow, the weekend before. Wow. Walker only dreams of having weekends like that. But he gets his sweeps in now and then, so. All right. Well, until next week, Walker.
All righty.
Unless you're a no-show.
Oh.
See, Shane's on a hot date tonight, so he should be back next week.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing his Valentine thing tonight.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys. Thanks. We're out.